from the station you count on. This is KARK 4 News with your forecast first.
And the extremely cold weather sticking around, although it will warm up. Some changes on the way before we get to that warm up. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Ashley Ketz, because we are your weather authority. Chief Keith Monahan joins us now with just what we can expect going through the next 48 hours. Keith.
Well, Bob and Ashley and everybody else out there in Arkansas, we can expect at least some moderation in the temperature department. You know, our tolerance and our threshold really has changed over the past couple of days. Take a look at these lows. -2 this morning at Fayetteville. 9 degrees is where we started the day in here in Little Rock. 9 at Camden, even down near the Louisiana state line, temperatures at 10 degrees. And again, we're just going to see regular cold air as we head through the next 24 to 36 hours. Temperatures actually recovering nicely to the 30s and 40s today under mostly sunny to sunny skies. But we do have another storm system that continues to develop over the Rockies. It's not a very powerful system, but it looks like it'll be arriving before all of that Arctic air moves out of the area. And so that means we may see some wintry weather a little bit later on tomorrow afternoon and definitely into tomorrow night and early on Thursday. As far as temperatures are concerned, again, just regular cold tonight. Folks dropping to the upper teens, the low 20s in eastern Arkansas, and the mid-20s across the western border counties with Oklahoma. For Little Rock overnight tonight, clear skies early, then becoming partly cloudy. By morning, we're going to start at a relatively balmy, as of late, 22 degrees. Your complete forecast in just a couple minutes.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. We turn from Keith now to some breaking news this hour. Little Rock firefighters battling an apartment fire at South Oaks Apartments. That is on Fair Park Boulevard in Little Rock.
KARK 4's Brittany Johnson is live from the scene. She joins us now. So, Brittany, what's going on?
Well, as you can see, fire crews are still here. It's still an incredibly active scene. They just put up this police tape. Now, they've been here since about 3:45. Again, we're at South Oaks Apartments, and the fire happened in this building right here. You can see there's a ladder up to the 3rd floor. When we got here, you could see them opening that window. Smoke was still coming out at that time. We've spoken to neighbors who were inside very, very close to the flames. They tell us they didn't see the flames at first. They didn't smell the smoke, but what they heard were people yelling help. They say that men from the lumber yard from across the street were jumping up and down. Someone even jumped across that fence to come and alert them to the fire that was happening just across the hall there. There's damage on one side of the building that you could see from the exterior. But again, you could see when we first arrived on the scene, lots of smoke coming out of the window. Authorities have not confirmed whether or not everyone has made it out safely. When I spoke to apartment management, they told us that this is a 12-unit building and that they do have plans for everyone who lived here to move out. Again, everyone has been evacuated. We're told they do have spaces for them to move into. The Arkansas Red Cross is on the scene. We are waiting on confirmation from fire officials as to whether or not everyone has indeed made it out okay. We'll continue to update you on the situation here at South Oaks as soon as we get more information. Live in Little Rock, Brittany Johnson, KARK 4 News.
Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you a little bit later in the newscast. After 3 weeks of silence, Lieutenant Governor Mark Darr speaking out, saying he has no plans to resign, at least not just yet. KARK 4's David Goins sitting down with Mr. Darr on why Lieutenant Governor plans to finish his term amid a record fine from the Arkansas Ethics Commission. David, what else did Mr. Darr have to say today?
Well, Bob, Darr says he made honest but unintentional mistakes regarding campaign and taxpayer money. He also says he's placing a stake in the ground against political games and those who play them. Now, Darr granting interviews this afternoon at the state capitol in his office. Last month, the State Ethics Commission found that Darr violated 11 separate state laws. In a prepared statement today before he granted those interviews, Darr listed what he calls 3 facts that don't warrant his resignation. Those include misfiling campaign reports, improper travel reimbursements, and using a state credit card for personal purchases, something he says was a mistake he quickly corrected. Even so, Darr says he has no plans to resign.
I did no violations that were willful or malicious or had willful or total disregard of the law.
Should that matter?
I think it very well should matter.
So ignorance of the law should be a defense?
No, it shouldn't. But what should be a defense or what people should want is elected leaders who are actual human beings that actually make mistakes.
Coming up at 6, we'll have more with our talk with Darr, the one-on-one sit-down, and why he believes most who are calling for his resignation this evening are doing so strictly for political gain. Live at the state capitol, David Goins, Channel 4 News.
All right. Thank you, David. We are your election headquarters, and early voting began today to fill the seat left vacant after a state lawmaker resigned. Former Senator Paul Bookout, a Democrat from Jonesboro, stepped down in August after the State Ethics Commission found that he misspent money from his re-election bid. Republican John Cooper and Democrat Steve Rockwell are hoping for the District 21 seat.
The U.S. Senate has voted to advance a temporary extension of unemployment benefits to more than 1 million jobless Americans. 6 Republicans joined Senate Democrats to get enough votes to break a filibuster and begin formal debate. Arkansas's John Bozeman, not one of those 6 Republicans. The bill would retroactively restore federal aid payments. Extending the aid for 3 months would cost about $6.5 billion. Opponents of the bill say there should be no extension unless there are matching spending cuts there.
Because money matters, hundreds of Arkansans brave the freezing temperatures to get help with their electric bills. It's a program, federal program, that gives millions of dollars to prevent families from living without power, and especially in this record cold. KERK4's Dustin Barnes shows the great need.
If a 3-digit number can give you a clue into how many families need help keeping their lights on, then look at how many more are in line. Some have been sitting for hours while others are in another building waiting to get a number. 159! Some Arkansas families have fallen on hard times.
We didn't even do Christmas. We couldn't.
Catherine Zaretsky is her family's breadwinner, drawing a Social Security check each month. Her husband's unemployment benefits just ended. They have 2 children.
The budget's just really tight right now. We can't do a whole lot. It cuts into our grocery money.
And the $200 electric bill almost didn't get paid until she got help from the Central Arkansas Development Council.
A whole lot of stress has been taken off my shoulders just now.
CADC gets around $4 million each season to help struggling Arkansans unable to pay their bills. Organizers say they're seeing many new faces this time, a sign that folks everywhere need a hand.
They're coming in faster, the people are coming faster because there is the volume of needing the assistance.
It really lightens my heart a whole lot.
Folks like Catherine are glad this service is available and that they got here in time before all the money runs out. In Little Rock, Dustin Barnes, KERK4 News.
And families in need can only get help once for the entire winter season and then once for the summer season. And if you didn't make it to request assistance today, just log on to our website, arkansasmatters.com, for a link to find out how. Well, the freezing temperatures are causing major problems for apartment tenants in Hot Springs overnight when their fire sprinkler lines burst, flooding homes and forcing the electricity off. It's a problem KERK4's Josh Berry found is posing quite an issue there. And Josh, we talk about keeping plumbing lines from freezing, but the fire sprinkler line is something we don't really think about. So what can people do?
And Ashley, that was the question that I kept asking today. You know, you can drip your faucets to keep those pipes from bursting, but you can't do that for fire sprinklers. And last night, tenants I spoke to at the Point Apartments in Hot Springs say water had flooded their homes, in some cases forcing the electricity off overnight. Some tenants had no choice but to go elsewhere during the cleanup and the repairs. I'm told this has happened in multiple buildings in the complex, but according to the fire department, it's not the only place they've seen this happen across the city, and the problem can raise safety concerns. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll look at those and what cleanup crews say they're seeing on the inside and the aftermath of these fire sprinkler lines bursting, and we'll hear some of the only ways to prevent this from happening. Back to you.
All right, and thank you, Josh. We do want to update you now on the breaking news at the beginning of the newscast. Little Rock firefighters are now telling us that at least 1 person has died in that apartment fire on Fair Park Boulevard. We want to check in with KERK4's Brittany Johnson, who has the latest on this new information. Brittany.
That's right, Ashley. They are confirming 1 death here at South Oaks Apartment. They are not sharing much about the details on that person's identity at this point, but they have shared a little bit more about this fire. They say it started on the 1st floor and traveled all the way up. It was the person who was in the apartment where the fire started who has passed away. We actually have here Captain Jason Weaver with us from the Little Rock Fire Department. What else can you tell us about what happened here?
We have confirmed that there was a fatality. There was 1 occupant in the downstairs apartment where the fire originated. The apartment above it was unoccupied, and there were 2 occupants in the top apartment. The fatality was the only injury. Everybody else made it out.
What can you share with us about the damage? You can't see much from the outside. What's it like inside?
A lot of heat and smoke damage. It vented out one of the bedroom windows and went up the side of the building. You can see quite a bit of damage on the north side of the structure. But inside, everything's charred and it's black.
We know it's early in the investigation, but can you share anything about how it may have started?
No, ma'am. The fire marshal's on scene. He's doing his investigation, and we'll work in conjunction with Little Rock Police because it's an unwitnessed fatality. They'll do their investigation and treat it as a homicide and rule out any foul play.
Okay, so they're treating it as a homicide first?
They will. They'll investigate it as a homicide until they can confirm, get the coroner's report, and look at the scene and make sure everything is normal.
Well, thank you very much for that information. Again, Captain Jason Weaver here sharing that they have confirmed 1 fatality, the person who occupied the apartment where this fire started here at South Oaks. In addition to the 1 person who is now dead, we do know that everyone who lived in that building is displaced. They will be placed at other units here at South Oaks Apartments, and Little Rock Fire and Police remain on the scene at this time. Live in Little Rock, Brittany Johnson, KARK 4 News.
Thanks, Brittany. We'll have more tonight at 6.
And we'll have more right after.